About 30 years back, and since I started my residency in anesthesia in Asyut University, I heard about him from my senior professors and teachers. They were and still speaking about the genius personality, both in ethics and science. Prof. Dawlatly, he got his MBBCH in '78, and he spent his residency in anesthesia in Asyut University Hospital between the period of '79 to '82, where he obtained his master degree in anesthesia in April '82. He was appointed at that time as assistant lecturer in anesthesia in the Gazi University Hospital between the period of '82 to '87, where he obtained his MD in anesthesia in November '86. And he was appointed in the same year as lecturer of anesthesia. From '84 to '86, he was working in Germany in Bonn University Anesthesia Institute as researcher and trainee. In between '88 and '89, he worked in Al Noor Hospital in Abu Dhabi in United Arab Emirates as a specialist. And since 1989, he is working at King Khalid University Hospital in King Saud University till now. Actually, Prof. Dawlatly is a professor of anesthesia at College of Medicine in King Saud University in Riyadh. He is the director of the Thoracic Anesthesia Fellowship, the director of the Anesthesia for Bariatric Surgery. He is the chairman of the research committee in King Khalid University Hospital, King Saud University, and he is also the vice chairman of the promotion committee in the same university. He is, of course, the founder and the director of the website and the group on the Yahoo, the very famous group Triple M. All of us, we know about the Triple M. Also, Prof. Dawlatly is the chairman of the Saudi chapter of Society Ultrasound Anesthesia based in Leicester University, United Kingdom. And he is an instructor in the very famous organization of the Ultrasound Regional Bloc, NISORA. Prof. Dawlatly is a member in the European Federation of Autonomic Societies and a member in the European Association of Cardiothoracic Anesthesiologists, as well as he is the reviewer in Anesthesia Analgesia, reviewer in Journal of Clinical Anesthesia, and associate editor in International Journal of Ultrasound and Applied Technologies in Perioperative Care. We are so proud of our teacher, Prof. Dawlatly. He is the editor-in-chief of Saudi Journal of Anesthesia. And fortunately, I met Prof. Dawlatly and worked with him in the same place in King Khalid University Hospital since 2003, and we considered him the reference of anesthesia in our institute. He never says no for helping anybody, even in the time out of his duties. No doubt he is well known as eminent scientific, expert, enthusiastic, and respected personnel all over the Middle East, and of course Europe and everywhere. Actually, I am lucky enough to work with Prof. Dawlatly because he is a true teacher, and we consider him as the wise man in our institute. I think if we may spend the whole night to talk about Prof. Dawlatly without endless speech. But I am sure we all are so excited to listen from Prof. Dawlatly. He will speak about very interested and hot topic about the research I think research is very important for everybody. Besides the practical work, we should know a lot about the research. So the basic and the view of the research will be explained by very simple view, and very simple lecture will be delivered by Professor Dawlatly. So please, Prof, floor is yours. So please go ahead. Thank you, Prof.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Hassan, for this nice introduction. And I'd like to extend my thanks to the organizers of this important educational platform founded by Dr. Saad Mahdi and his colleagues. So actually this sort of educational material, I'm sure it will help a lot of people in their career. My topic tonight is not a formal lecture or formal presentation. It is like a journey. I'll take you a journey where we have 3 stations to land on. The first station is the editor station. Second one is the reviewer station. And the third one is the reader station. So let me start with the editor station. But before that, I want you to be really focused on this lecture, because I'm not going to give you any direct message or any direct conclusion, but I'll let you, after this lecture, extract the important aspects where you can use in writing your manuscript and sending and corresponding with reviewers, and lastly, the readers. So just focus, because this is really a brainstorming kind of lecture where you have to extract the knowledge out of it, which will help you in your future career. Before we start with the editor station, let me give you the lecture outlines. We'll go for the role of the editor, role of reviewer, reader, and then give you a roadmap and tips for good research to be conducted, and some appendices, some sort of guidelines, and then we'll go to the conclusion. So before the editor station, I have 2 slides, one on the why you want to publish your article. You have an article, what is your aim, why you want to publish it? You want to publish because you want to publicize your hypothesis. You have a hypothesis studied and you have an outcome out of it. You wanted to publish it. You want to publicize it and document and share with your results with your colleagues and mentors. And this is also one of the things why you wanted to publish your article. The other thing is that you want to benefit your undergraduate, and this is also one of the important aspects of it. Again, you wanted to self-satisfy your leadership in the specialty. And also at the end, you wanted to satisfy your readers. But one important thing which I left it to the end, might be you wanted me to put it on the beginning, So this is a promotion. You wanted to publish an article for promotion purpose. Okay, this is well deserved, but not the last or even the first aim why you wanted to publish an article. So think on all this together. The second slide share is this one, that the very first decision you need to make is to see which journal you are intending to submit your manuscript to, even before starting writing. The selection of the journal is very important. Before you start writing your manuscript or start doing anything, you have to make a list of 3 or 5 journals, where your manuscript is going to, your manuscript is going to be sent to, which is very important because there are many journals in the market where you have to choose between basic journals, basic title journals, or clinical investigation study journal, general journals versus specialized journal, printed versus electronic, subscription access versus open. You have to make sure initially and at the beginning, before you do anything, to have a target journal. Usually we make a list of 3 to 5 journals, and after that you can choose among them. Important thing also to balance between the desire to publish in top quality journals with the need for rapid publications, of course, for promotion purpose. But consider when selecting journal, the indexing of the journal, the PubMed indexing and the Web of Science and an impact factor to the journal. These are the criteria which you should be able to catch before even start your research. Okay, let's start to go to the editor station. Now you submitted the article and it is in the hands of the editor. The editor is overwhelmed with submissions. I'll give you an example with our journal. We are receiving from 10 to 15 articles per day. And the editor duty is supposed to go through all of this and started to assign the section editors or the regional editors, associate assistants, in order to help in getting this all passing through the process of publication. So he is overwhelmed with articles. So let us see what are the functions of the editor. The editor is the one who is going to take care of your submission and the one who is going to decide about your article at the end. The functions of the editor will start by looking into your cover letter and the components of it. You might be not knowing that the cover letter is important. Most of the researchers, they are taking the cover letter as a side issue. It is not the main issue. They focus on the article, original article and components of it, but they don't look carefully into the cover letter. To be honest, the cover letter is the first impression is the editor will take about you and your performance, and your article is from the cover letter. So it is important to see how important is the cover letter in writing the cover letter. Be very focused, and I'll show you in a minute how the cover letter to be written and what are the couple of examples about it. So the cover letter should include the selection of why you selected this journal. The editor wanted to know why you go for this specific journal. So you might have chosen this journal because you read many articles on the same investigation topic you are searching on, and therefore you selected this journal. The editor-in-chief wanted to know this statement, want to know why you selected the journal and why. And of course, the ethical issues here, very important. Ethical issues has to be surfaced and has to be really addressed with clear language, including the conflict of interest, funding, and everything. After reading the cover letter, the editor is going to do quick inspection, which is the initial inspection to your article. Of course, he is going to focus on what? The instruction to authors. Instruction to authors is different from journal to another. So before sending your article to any journal, just please spend a few seconds or few minutes to read the instruction to authors. I don't know why most of researchers find the instruction to author readings difficult. If you read the instruction to authors properly, this will definitely shorten the cycling process of your article, and the decision is going to be taken in a short time. Also, the journal scope has to be very clear to you. For example, if you wanted to publish a neuroanesthesia article, you have to see what is the scope of this journal you are looking for. Is it a specific or general, as I said? So you have to go for example, a neurosurgical journal. The editor then go for the completeness of your subscription, starting with the title and then abstract, introduction, methods, results, tables, figures, discussion, references. All of this has to be written according to the instruction to authors. Don't forget, always come back to the instruction to authors. After doing that, the editor is going to check what we call the plagiarism. I'll show you in a minute what this plagiarism is, and we'll discuss it later. Plagiarism is just in each journal website, it's just an icon, it's a cross-reference authenticate platform. And this one, when you check it, the article is being taken to this authenticate platform, and then is going to be checked for plagiarism and similarity index. And according to that, we'll show you the examples, how much is the similarity index of your article versus another articles and so on. This is very important step because before taking the article for cycling and to reviewers and start managing your article, if the plagiarism score coming to very high one, we'll show you how, with a similarity, with a high similarity index. So unfortunately, the article is going to be rejected straight away. There is no way to debate with the decision if the plagiarism or similarity index is high. If it's okay, then language check. The editor is going to just flow over the article and see whether the language and the grammar are okay and follow the instruction to authors or not. References format, also very important. Sometimes, you can get the help of the EndNote or reference manager to help you in getting the format for the specific journal or your target journal. After that, the editor is going to assign reviewers. Assigning reviewers, he's going to select between 2 to 3 reviewers. We'll come to this part in the reviewers station. After receiving the comments from the, then after assigning reviewers, the article is going to be cycled for different functions. We're also going to discuss it later. At the end, the reviewers will send letter to the editor telling that this article is okay, going to be no further revisions, no further reviewing process, so it's going to be accept or reject. So these are the 2 decisions which can be taken at the end. Let us start with the covering letter. As I said, the covering letter creates, as here states, creates a good first impression. This is very important. I consider it very important. So the cover letter should include the ethical considerations regarding if you are doing human research, it should follow the Declaration of Helsinki. Animal research should follow the ARRIVE guidelines. IRB should be obtained. Online registration for clinical trials should be done. Informed consent. Confirmed no duplication. And or submission or double submission. And also one of the things the journal will ask you as an author is to recommend the reviewers. And this part, you just keep it now. And later I'm going to discuss further with you. So these are the things which you should clearly state regarding the ethical issues. Ethical issues, very, very important, to be clearly stated in the covering letter. Summarize your manuscript quickly and just put the highlight most important findings of it to show why your manuscript would be of interest to the editor or the readers. As I said, this cover letter creates a good first impression. This means that you are focused and you are doing ethical work. I'll give you 2 examples of one good and one not good cover letter. This is the good cover letter. Here, this is the journal name, but I removed all details for known reasons, and these are the correspondence and so on. So still, Professor, Editor-in-Chief, on behalf of myself, I read it, if you allow me. On behalf of myself and my co-authors, we have the honor to submit the enclosed manuscript for assessment for possibility of publication in your prestigious journal as an original research article. The article presents the results of registered RCT with registration number and registration website registered in 2020 by testing. So the study protocol was, was pilot study before and so on. Then this manuscript present original work and was neither submitted to any other journal, published elsewhere, nor under consideration of publication in whole or part elsewhere in the present time. I attest to the fact that the authors listed on the title page have read the manuscript, attest the validity and legitimacy of the data and its interpretation, and agree to the submission to the journal. The author fulfill the criteria for authorship. You know that this paragraph all is an ethical issue paragraph, which is so important, okay? Our work has not been funded anyway. This is a conflict of interest and the declaration of conflict of interest for all participants as have been declared below. All authors signed the letter as confirmation that they are real approved the terms and conditions of journal submission. Again, the instruction to authors. Confirm that the article has met the criteria for authorship as established by the International Committee of Medical Journal Editors. Believe that the article presents honest work and is able to verify the validity of the recent reported, results also. So I consider this is complete and a perfect way to do the cover letter. Let us go to another funny cover letter. I just received it today in the morning. I thought to bring it to your attention. This is a manuscript title. This came to our journal. Name of the author, of course, I remove everything. Then addressing to whom? To editor-in-chief of the Canadian Journal of Anesthesia, coming to our journal here, Saudi Journal of Anesthesia, because the editor is put my name here. And they are telling what? Oh, I said, okay, maybe this is just this is spelling or anything, this is okay, we'll forget. But when I went further, I, as the main corresponding author of the mentioned manuscript, would like to submit an original article. Okay, so to the editor, they mentioned the Canadian Journal of Anesthesia, and they put my name. And then he said, okay, I, as the main corresponding author to the mentioned above manuscript, would like to submit this original article in the Canadian Journal of Anesthesia. Again, he is insisting to put the Canadian Journal of Anesthesia. He is submitting to Saudi Journal of Anesthesia, and he is telling that this is, he is interested to submit to Canadian. So I think the author is not focused. There is a lot of confusion here. So this first impression is not good. So here, this is a different example. The first impression definitely is not good. And I think you will all agree with me on that. Okay, after this covering letter reading, the editor is going to initially inspect the article, in large, and then start to see what to do afterward. He's going to check these issues, which are here, to check the topic. Is the topic within the frame of the journal scope or not? So the topic, if the topic is beyond the journal scope, and there is lack of originality and novelty, and substandard quality, and language is irreparable. We can accept language check because we are all the same, The non-Arabic speaker is difficult to catch up proper English language in English journal. So this is okay, this we accept it, but is it irreparable or can be repaired? So this is the only thing which we look into as editor. If it is irreparable, we don't accept it to be a major issue. And then we check the ethics issue, if it is unethical. So topic beyond the journal scope, lack of integrity and novelty, substandard quality, language irreparable, unethical. With initial inspection, and don't waste time of yourself as editor or reviewers, we reject this article. So, as I said here, it's unfair to waste time and effort to reviewers by such articles. If you send this kind of article to reviewers, they are not going to be in your mailbox again. You are going to lose reviewers. So that's what the editor doesn't want it to have. The editor, each editor in any journal wanted to attract the attention of reviewers. You want the reviewers on his side. So this is very important part. But if the article is okay, it's going to be cycled. And we see here what we mean by cycling. Forget about the plagiarism check now, because this is, as I said, it is one of the initial things which the editor has to do. We are going to come to this issue in a minute. But let us see what does the cycling mean. Cycling of your paper means that you are giving the your paper an attention in terms of technical modification. If the article needs any technical modification, it's going to be back to the reviewer, to the author, in order to correct this technicality. And then coming back, then if it is okay from all issues, it's going for external review to the reviewers. The reviewers will write a report, and then is going to send it back to the editor. Editor will send the reviewers the report to the author again for revision. Is going to receive the report from the authors and the answers, and will show you how to answer the reviewers' comments, which is very, very important part as well. Then is going back with the author comments to the reviewers again to check them again, and the revision, external review, and so on. It can go here 100 times, you know, between these 3 points. At the end, if it's everything is okay by the reviewers, it go to the pre-accepted language check to the journal office. Journal office has different sections, you know. One of the sections is accepted language check, means that the article is okay, accepted for publication, and now it's going to be checked for page proof, which will come to you to finally attest your article. So just let me show you some of the important platforms here, which we have. These are the, like, from one of the journal, our journal here is the instruction to authors. As I said, the instruction to authors is very important. Before doing anything, before submitting, just to go through the instructions to authors, read it carefully, and apply it as it is in your manuscript. Also, as I said before, you know, you have to look for the scope of your journal, the scope of journal you wanted to send for, and the index of the journal. These are 2 important parts which you should catch before submitting your manuscript to any journal. I'll just spend here a few moments with these types of misconduct, because, you know, I put plagiarism there initially, and this is one of the frustrating things which we face as editors, to be honest. So these are the different types of misconduct I just wanted to share with you. So this is the plagiarism, duplicate publications or submission, fabrication, and falsification. I think this is very grave statements and harsh statements which all of us wanted to avoid falling into it. I just wanted to remind you, duplicate publication and submission is not allowed. You know, some of the authors, they send the article to 2 journals simultaneously. This is unethical and not allowed. So please don't do it. Plagiarism, what plagiarism is a practice of taking someone else's work or idea and passing them as if it is your own. Or the use of previously published material without attribution, without references. You think that this is your own and you are using it. This is unethical, and it is easily can be caught by the Authenticate platform in any journal now. Types of plagiarism: outright copying. Use the same word, you take the whole paragraph and put it as if it is your own. Paraphrasing, changing some of the words and put it in different phrase, and you pass it as if it is your own. Patchwork, part of the word connected in different way, or stealing apt form, which is a short phrase to be used. So this is the types of plagiarism. All of this not acceptable. And I'll show you a couple of examples. As I said, checking plagiarism is very easy. Any website of a journal has, for the editor section, has got all these icons. One of this, as you see, is a check plagiarism. Just we check on the check plagiarism, the article is going to be taken to the authenticate, and few seconds the report will come to you, telling it has plagiarized or not, what is the similarity index, and then help you to take decision. As I said here, you have to differentiate between similarity index and plagiarism. Similarity index is the one which will appear after checking the plagiarism here. It's using similar words or other people word with or without attribution. This is a similarity index. Plagiarism is using the same words or ideas of the people without attribution, definitely without attribution. So, in other words, similarity to be minimized, plagiarism to be avoided. Think of this, please, before sending any manuscript. Look for that example. This example from our journal. This is the type of the article, and then we send it to the plagiarism. Look for the similarity index, 48%. Do you accept it as an author, reviewer, reader, editor? Of course not. It means that 50% of the article is similar to other art. 50% taken from other article with or without attribution. So this is not acceptable. 28% still not acceptable. This is too high because we don't look only to the similarity index, but we look to the plagiarism index. Plagiarism index, we can find it here in this. Let us say this is an internet source. 5% is taken from this. Then we look carefully into this. 5% here in this text. We'll find it, chase it, and see whether it is plagiarized, attributed or not. Then we take decision. This one, 9%, it's perfect, but still here I have 6% for plagiarism. I have to check. Then we have to go to the text and see where are these 6% coming from internet, whether they are attributed or not. And this is what matters, in decision taking. This one, 31% similarity index. Sometimes we send the article to this plagiarism check. We got this 30% or 50%, and we send it to the author, telling that the similarity index is more than, let us say, 30, 40, whatever it is. And then the author, annoyed, and sent back to the editor, telling the article didn't take 24 hours until you take a decision. How come? So what to tell? This is the answer. The answer, the similarity index is very high. You cannot process your article. So this is one of the things which I wanted to draw your attention to. Another one is 64%. 2/3 of the article taken from another article with or without attribution. Do you accept? I don't think anybody will accept this. So this is regarding the plagiarism. So take it very seriously because this is the first thing which we are checking in all journals. I just go to one example of each. This is duplicate publication and submission. And this example, look for this interesting example. Here is the title, The Legend of P-Value in Anesthesia and Analgesia 2005 by this author. And the same one, but different, paraphrasing of the title, 0.03 limit, same author, same everything in the contents here and there, and published in this time in Pediatric Journal 2007. So this sort of duplicate publication and submission is not ethical or unethical. Data fabrication, also another unethical issue, making up data or result, making it as if it is not existed, not manipulating, not falsification, but fabrication. So this is definitely not accepted, and it can be chased, easily. Don't think that this can go beyond the editor or reviewer's back. No, at all. It can be easily detected, and if it is not detected now, it will be detected later. In any correspondences, as this example, here the author has lost 21 of his articles from prestigious journals anesthesia, analgesia, all of them in anesthesia, analgesia, 21 manuscript retracted. He lost it after being published. False manipulation of the research material or data falsification. This is also another example. This famous example, but I put it like that. 9 articles of him were also retracted from literatures after being published. This is another extreme example of misconduct. You know, during the publication process, they will ask you to what? They will ask you to put names, suggest names of reviewers for your article. Then the authors of these 64 articles, which were retracted, the authors of these articles, they put a fraud email, you know, a fake email, which will come back to them as reviewers. They are authors, but they put the alternative email address, which means that when the editor will cycle it, it will go back to them as the reviewers this time. Imagine this happen. And it happened in the New England Journal of Medicine. And this was published in October 21, 2015, where 64 articles being retracted from different subscription journal. I consider this an extreme, example. So, based on that example, now most of the editors, they don't look into the reviewers suggested by the authors. So at the end, we are following the Committee of Publication Ethics, which is on the left-hand side here, the COP, and we are following the World Association of Medical Editors. Rest assured that all editors know each other, probably not in person, but at least on their email, they are corresponding with each other. Because the problems exist in one of the European journals will be reflected back on our journal if it is duplicate publication or duplicate submissions. So we used to correspond with each other. And ultimately, following the COPE and the WAME websites or organization, we are going to follow the retraction notices they have. There is a retraction policy in both, and we used to follow this retraction policy as listed here below. If any misconduct happened, we used to go to these retraction policies and we used to get it done. We cannot do anything else except to following these retraction policies. Let us say this is a retraction watch also. This is an online, founder. They are online. They are tracking the retractions window all over the world. All articles are being here, watched and retracted, and the report is going to be. This one is a leading anesthesiology journal. Recently, paper after reader noticed that the statistical approach, a reader notice, the readers, this is important to the reader. The reader can put success to your journal or fail your journal. A reader statistical approach was suboptimal. This is published in the European Journal of Anesthesia. So the article was retracted. Another famous example, all of you know about it, which is the chloroquine article in the Lancet, which was also retracted for some reason or another. And here our journal, last issue, 10 articles, 10 papers were retracted for the same co-author because of being high rate of similarity from various other articles along with overwhelming evidence of misconduct. And this is a one French university, they withdrew the researcher's PhD after misconduct finding. Imagine it can go further beyond not only retraction of article, but PhD. So this happened. This is recently, yesterday published in the Retraction Watch. So before I leave the editor section, I'll just go with one alert and one warning. The alert is as follows. There are now aired, so many issues about the preprint articles. What do we mean by preprint article? Preprint article is article published in an open access journal and with full methodology, full results, full article published in a journal. And even they give you the DOI, the object identifier number, digital object identifier number. So it is full article as if you send it to any normal journals we have. But they call it preprint because this article is will be left on board to this open access journal until the readers will submit their feedback about this article. The author will going to take this feedback and start to correct his article and then resubmit it to well-established journals. But mind you, some of the well-established journals, they don't accept this preprint business. Like this example on your right-hand side. There's a clinical orthopedics and related research, Bone Joint Journal of Orthopedic and so on, will not accept the clinical research manuscripts previously posted in the preprint servers. So be very bit cautious in sending your article for preprint. But if you have this done, you can just in your cover letter, which is important, mention that your article was preprint article before in such a journal, and now you are sending it to this journal for assessment and possible publication. My advice to you, don't to go into this business. The other thing which is warning, this is real warning because this one, which is avoid submitting your paper to predatory or pseudo journals. There are a lot of predatory and journals like that now. And here there is a list of journals which you can have it. This is the list in 2019, last year. You can see these predatory journals, thousands of it. And predatory journal, what does it mean? Is a publishing business model that involves charging publication. This is article, publication, charging model. Fees to the author without checking the articles for quality, without providing the other editorial and publishing service. This article, your article, send it to this journal, they will publish, they will take money of it, and not to go to any reviewing process. And usually the name of the journal is the same editor. The owner of the journal is the editor. So be very careful and don't send your article to any of the predatory journals. Don't tell that I don't know the predatory journal. What are they? There is a list of predatory journals, just chase predatory journal list 2019, 2020 or anything, and you will find all these journals. Okay, let us move to the second station, the reviewer. The reviewer has a function, definitely, or peer-reviewed reviewers has function. Reviewers, they are quality gatekeeper of your article. They call it is a quality filter process, where your paper is going to be sent to 2 to 3 peers, expert in the same field, to check the novelty and the originality of it. The editor, of course, has no time to do all of this job. So the reviewers are very, very important for the editor because they are going to help him in establishing his decision. Usually we do send it to 2 to 3 peers, but imagine, these peer reviewers, they are also overwhelmed with work from other journals. So we used to send it to more than 3. And if we land with 2 accepted to review the article, this will be good news for us. The function of reviewer is to check the novelty, originality of the paper. Check the ethical issues. Yes, please.
Move screen, please.
Sorry?
Screen is not moving.
Now we are some.
Still, Prof.
What do you see now? We are some on the screen, please.
Avoid submitting your paper to predatory or pseudo journals.
Oh, really? This one, huh?
Yes.
Here. Can you see or not yet?
No.
No.
Yeah, I am moving it,
Appears on your screen, Prof.
What do you see now? Your paper in the eyes of reviewer or not yet?
Avoiding submitting your paper to Preprint, the same.
Same, Ariba. And I am moving it, and here everything is okay. Shall I stop sharing and share again, or what do you think?
Yes, please. Yes, now your paper in
the eyes of reviewer, right?
Yes.
Okay. So just let me know, Dr. Isam, if anything wrong before we proceed.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. So this is now we are going to the reviewer station. This is the second station. So peer reviewing, as I said, is a quality filter process where your paper is going to be sent to 2 to 3 peers, expert in the same field, to check the novelty and originality of it. What are the functions of reviewers? Checking the novelty, originality of your paper. Ethical issues also to be checked. Research question, because this is very important. Before you start doing anything, you have to get proper research question, which is against the null hypothesis, or the hypothesis against null hypothesis. You have to check the sample size calculation. You have to check the statistical analysis or consult statistician to get you the test which will prove or disprove your research question. These are the 4 items important before you start any research. Research question, and then different sections. He's going to check of the paper, different sections of it, starting from the title, abstract, and so on. Language and the grammar also. Literature review, the flow of your paper. Yeah, this transition from paragraph to another. Conclusion and take-home messages. And at the end, the reviewer is going to put a review report. We'll show you in a minute how review report look like and how to respond to it. Also, the reviewer is going to look at, as I said to you before, this is instruction to authors, whether you followed the instruction to authors or not. This is important and will be surfaced and highlighted. Abstract, whether it is structured or unstructured abstract. This according to the instruction to authors. First impression, as I said, is important. Always first impression is important. First impression is important for the editor. First impression is important for reviewer. First impression is important for the reader. So take a note of this. Introduction and objectives. This should be very clear. Hypothesis very clear, whether it is relevant or not. Methods. Ethical issues, again. IRB, online registration. Inclusion and exclusion criteria. Results in tables and figures better than in text. Less text, but more tables and figures. Discussion, main finding, literature review, and limitation of your study. Conclusion, clear take-home message. Short and clear. What is the take-home? This is all included in the conclusion. The length of your paper and language is very important. Should be focused. And no time, the reviewer, they don't have time for lengthy paper. Once they have a lengthy paper, they feel bored or even they disapprove to review it. So make sure that you met the demands of the reviewer. You have to be in his chair, Reference section, UpToDate, and EndNote or Manager can be used for the style format of the references. Avoid many references, 60, 70 or so on. You don't need to do that. You just get the recent updated reference list and only relevant. Forget about the irrelevant for your topic references. Don't include them. We'll come to the selection of reviewers. Now the editor has a paper and he wanted to put it for reviewers for reviewing process. So the selection of reviewers is very important. We can get the reviewers from your reference list. Your article has a reference. So we'll go and select of this. This is one of the methods. Personal communications. Some reviewers who are interested in this field, then you send it to them. PubMed. You go to PubMed, I'll show you how to go and chase the reviewer. Journal database also, I'll go to this and I'll show you how to chase the reviewers. Look, in our journal, we have 1,268 reviewers to date. This is from today, website. We have more than 1,200. This is, all of them, they helped us, in some of the articles which we cycle to them. So this is our bank of reviewers. We are very care of it, and we don't want it to lose any one of them. So let us give you an example. Now, this is the article came, and this is the article, here mentioned. Some here, there is a word of cardiomyopathy. What we do first, we go to this search PubMed. We click on it. When you click on it, you will find so many articles addressing, for example, the same cardiomyopathy. Okay, so we wanted to get a reviewer for cardiomyopathic article. We check this. When we check this, molecular mechanism cardiomyopathy, then it will bring us to another one, which is an abstract. We'll go for the affiliation of the authors. And here, as you see, there is one of the authors here, email address. We take this, copy, paste, and we send it to the reviewer. This is one of the ways how to use a PubMed to submit to select reviewers. The other way is to check our bank, 1,200 reviewers. Here we tabulate them according to their subspecialty. And we choose, is it survey, is it surgery, thoracic anesthesia, ultrasound, cardiac anesthesia, or so on, whatever it is. Then it go to, let us say, this is an example of core anesthesia. So anesthesia. So we'll select this. Here are the names and email of the journal reviewers. So we select 1 or 2 or 3 of them according to the how many reviewer you wanted to select, and then send them the articles for review. This is how the editor reviewing or selecting the reviewers for the article. Usually the duration of reviewing a process takes from 2 to 3 weeks, but it can take longer. But longer doesn't, it does mean only one thing, that the reviewer response is late. The reviewer delayed in sending his or her response to the journal. Sometimes you get, if it's more than 3 weeks, we get an annoying, letters from the authors, why my article is late, why so and so and so. So just to understand, this is not in our hand. This is in the hands of the reviewers. We have to wait and respect, but we used to send them an response, mail that please speed up the process of reviewing the article. But we cannot do much about this. Usually more than 3 reviewers, that's what is the minimum we used to set, because we are waiting for 2 reviewers to respond. One issue here also in the reviewing process is the issue of language, and grammar. As I said before, you can get help from native English speaker, colleague, or organization like online web sources. There are so many. At the end, it is your responsibility. Okay, this is not the responsibility of anybody. It is your own responsibility. You have to sort it out before getting the reviewer report. This is a picture or one of the reviewer reports, live example. Reviewer has to put the report in 2 sections: section for the authors and section for the editors. Okay, the reviewer for both will be include the following: general impression, major comments, minor comments. Okay, but for the editor, things are a bit different. There will be a confidential report to the editor on the originality, novelty of the, and then accept a minor revision, major revision, or reject. So these are the important things which you do want to know. So it's a decision. He will help the editor in taking decision. So you have to, if you look, just I'll read one statement here. I have reviewed and uploaded a new file where I inserted my comments as notes from line to line for the ease of correction. This is a very good reviewer. I mean, very helpful reviewer. We wish that all our reviewers like that. He read everything, he put it line by line, comments, and he even uploaded a new file, which will help you in improving your manuscript further when you resubmit it. This is very, very good example of a reviewer. But this is another reviewer where look for the editor's comment here. Retrospective designs imparts too many flaws to make this data meaningful. And this article was rejecting, being a retrospective study with a lot of bias. So these are two examples, one good example and one not good example. By the way, once you have a major revision or minor revision, this means that you have a good news anyway. And you must be proud of your article, that the paper substantially will be accepted based on your response to the reviewer comments. This is a very crucial moment now. Take a breath, sit down, answer the comments of each editor. How we do that? This is the response letter. This is also one of the important, two things here I mentioned in this lecture. If you remember, the cover letter initially, and here is the response letter. These are two crucial letters. You should do it with real carefulness, in order to get your article through. Let us see what the reviewer once said in this example. Reviewer once said what? You have a typo. He just mentioned there is only one typo in the conclusion section, which is this one. And he's asking you to remove also the abstract model you sent is a structured abstract. But their article, they don't have this structured abstract. They accept unstructured abstracts. So the answer, which is the answer from you and an author, should be like that. Thank you very much. Typo corrected. This was removed from the conclusion of the abstract and the subheadings were removed. The total words of this number is so and so abstract-wise. Reviewer number 2. Please check and proofread all changes carefully to avoid further revisions. The answer from the author should be like that. Thank you very much for your meticulous note and patience. We apologize that we could not do the required changes at the earliest changes. We have checked the proof carefully. You see, the answer is kind and polite answer. Reviewer number 3. In the discussion, you state that has the advantage of having an available application, but this should not be an advantage, and so on. Answer: this statement was also removed and details given. So the bottom line, that you should accept the blame. Should be polite and respectful to all the reviewers. Provide an overview, then quote the full set of reviews. Respond to every point raised by the reviewers. Okay? This is very important, which is, they call it the rebuttal letter or response letter. Okay, now we are coming to our poor friend, which is the reader station. So the reader is at the end of this program. So what attracts the reader to your article is the title. So the title should attract the attention of the reader. Spend all effort to have a good title, short, comprehensive title where the reader will be attracted to. Abstract should be summarized. We are just repeating the before, but with focusing on the reader's support in this matter. The abstract should be summarized, all aspects of the article. Most of the readers, they are going to read the title, abstract, and then they will stop. If the abstract and title attracts them, they are going to read the details of your article. At the end, you want the reader to read your article in full, not partial. Introduction should serve as the originality aim of the work. It has to be short, the methods, and detailed. I don't know how to balance between short and detail. Try your best. Graphs, tables, better than to put it in a text format. It will be boring if you put all in text format, while if you put tables and the graphs, it will make things easy for a reader to follow your article. Discussion, surface the main findings first, because he might go to read the main findings first and then go away. Take home message for the conclusion. Some journal, they ask for a summary, which should be like a story in simple language, and it should be specific. And the reference, as I said, not too many, please, not too many, and up to date. I'm going to finish by a couple of slides here about the tips and roadmap for a good research. I just put this forward from from our previous experience in this field. That for human studies, you have to follow the Helsinki Declaration. And for animal studies, there is ARRIVE guidelines. You have to go into both websites and check them. IRB, clinical trial registrations, also has to be followed. Important is honesty, transparency in all scientific communications. Select the journal to be published before starting data collection. Follow instruction to authors of the target journals. Avoid plagiarism, fabrication, falsification, and duplicate submission.
Prof, screen is not sharing.
Still. So the roadmap for a good research is to follow, as I said, the Helsinki Declaration, IRB clinical trial registration, ARRIVE guidelines for animal study. Honesty, transparency is very important in all scientific communication. Select the journal to publish even before start data collection. Follow instruction to author. Avoid plagiarism, fabrication, falsification, duplicate submission. Consult a statistician before beginning of data collection. Do sample size calculation. This is important. Carefully, critically examine your own work with attention to language and grammar. Keep records of research activities such as data collection. And here I wanted to stop for a second because keeping records is very important. Many of journals, they do editing, self-auditing. Every now and then they just open randomly the journal and select one article and start to communicate with the author even after some couple of years, and asking or chasing the IRB and the data in order to replicate the statistics. So make sure that you are keeping your data, even if it is for prolonged time, done, keep it in a safe place. And then answer reviewer carefully. If we do that, this just a roadmap which can help you in this regard. I'm going to finish by these appendices. Can you see this, Abdelazeem? Appendices, okay. So this is a couple of the appendices. This is one in the copyright transform form. This is a copyright form. The journal will ask you at the end, if it is accepted, to sign this form. This is very important to be signed because you will transfer all the copyrights from you to the journal. You have no right now to utilize your article, any statements or any paragraph of your article, unless you take a permission from the publisher. And this is one from our journal. This is just an example. These are some guidelines for each study, which is a PRISMA for the systematic review meta-analysis, RCT consort guidelines, STROBE for cohort, case control, cross-sectional, and care for case series and case report. These are online platforms you can use to list your article before submitting for publication. This is the consort, STROBE, and the PRISMA. And one before last slide is I just ask you to go through this issue in Saudi Journal of Anesthesia. April 2019 was published on how to write a paper. This is a special issue. All articles you can download it for free. It will help you in processing your article. Conclusion. Can you see the conclusion, Abdelazeem?
Yes, Prof. Yes.
Conclusion, I'll conclude with 3 caveats, 3 notions. 1, to the writer. Writer of a manuscript must take great care to critically evaluate data they incorporate with honesty and transparency before and throughout the submission process and cycling process. Notion to the editor and reviewer. Editors and reviewers are the gatekeepers of the scientific work. The readers rely on them to ensure the novelty and integrity of the published material. And caveat to the readers, read indeed, be aware of the many potentials of scientific misconduct, and they should have a critical eye on the manuscript. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Prof, for this informative lecture. I know that you are so busy in nowadays in either in the practical work or in the research work. So I appreciate your sharing with us for this very informative lectures. And all of us, I think we know that the importance of the research. And in my view, I think that the research is the last thing, as you mentioned, Prof, for just for promotion, but the research mainly for improving our job and to apply the research for the practical work. And for myself, some of the papers and the research work, I got a lot of benefit in changing my practice. So research is very important for the practice rather than for the promotion. Prof, we have couples of questions, if you please, from our panelists and attendees. And the first question from our friend, Professor Bilal Delvi. He is asking you about that he sometimes he is facing a lot of obstacles to publish an authentic paper. For example, the points that are requested, a lot of points requested from the IRB. What is the solution, Prof?
If I got the question right, so these are the contents of the IRB. So I think two things here the journal wanted to know from you, that the IRB approved, and what is the number of the IRB letter, which is very important. And the other thing is the date of approval. So these three informations are important to be mentioned in any IRB letter. The IRB number is important because you are going to use it for the clinical registration of the journal online and the other, clinicaltrial.gov, So these are the main contents of the IRB approval letter.
Okay, sir. As a continuation, as you mentioned just now, for registration in the clinical trial, is it mandatory to register in the clinical trial? This is one of the questions. And how to register in the clinical trial?
Yes, it is essential in all clinical trials. If you have any clinical trial, you have to register it on the clinicaltrial.gov. Clinicaltrial.gov is the US-based one, but there are clinicaltrial.india, N-I-N means India, also you can go through it, or clinicaltrials.jp, which is Japan, and the clinicaltrial.sa, which is South Africa. Any one of these you can choose and you can go through a register. By the way, it's very easy and a straightforward platform, and you should not suffer. It is very friendly websites.
Thank you, sir. Another question from our colleagues regarding to plagiarism. Is there any software to detect this plagiarism, and what is the permission for accepting the percent of the plagiarism in the published paper?
Yes, websites available, but I think you have to pay for that. But in our journal, we pay for our journal each hit $1 to the publisher. So we are even paying, from our, in our journal. So this is available online. You can utilize it. And the other thing, the percentage, there is no percentage for that. Even if it is 10, let us say 10 similarity index, which I showed you, this doesn't mean that you should not go for plagiarism check. No, we have to go see what is the highest percentage from where the author take the part of his article. Let us say 1, 2, or 3, or 4, 5, 6%. Let us say 6%. Then we look into this 6% in the text, and there we check the plagiarism. But I cannot give you an answer which figure we used to have as a similarity index where we can release the paper for cycling.
Prof, if you allow for me myself, I'd like to ask, and the panelists, of course, take permission to take this chance to ask my teacher a couple of questions about research, because we are facing this problem. Regarding to Prof, if I want to quote some paragraphs from a book, for example, what is the way to put in the research work? Is it allowed or not?
You are allowed, but you attribute. You just reference to it. Yani you take the paragraph, but don't take it. Yani paragraph, it can be 2 lines, 3 lines, or page. Don't take page and then refer to it. But you can take a paragraph, 3, 4, 5 lines, and attribute. You do the reference. This is a very important thing. That one to get it done, but attribute to the reference.
Okay. Regarding to the importance and the way of the research work, is there any evaluation for the retrospective and the prospective study, which is important, or it is evaluated better than the other one, retrospective or prospective, or the same?
If I have received any retrospective study, I take it with great caution, and because there is a lot of bias, in retrospective studies. We should not. Usually, we don't accept it. In our journal, for example, as one of the journals, we don't accept any retrospective studies. But if prospective study, yes, we go and check, and according to the list which I showed you in the lecture.
One more question, Prof. According to the arrangement of the authors, is there any importance to be the first authors, the last authors, the middle authors, and how many, and is there any number allowed, or like before, we can write, for example, Dawlatly et al.?
You mean the authors in expanded form?
Yes.
The author in expanded form is you can have up to 6 to 7 authors listed on your article, original article. But the first and last, these are the important, by the way. The first author and last author. So because in some websites, the first and last only appearing, and in the middle they don't show. But anyway, if even this article is going to be referenced, in another article, all authors' names should appear. We don't say Isam et al. No, we don't say that. We have to write all authors in the reference list. But up to how many in the reference list? Up to 6 or 7, and then you stop.
For this point, Prof, the first author, if we go for promotion, for example, the first author and the last author, they are taking points privilege more than the middle authors?
No, they are all the same. All the same.
The same points.
Yeah.
Okay. The last question for me, and after that I leave the floor for my colleagues. The strengths of the research types, I mean, which is on the top and which is on the bottom when you are evaluating the research, Prof, in your respective journal?
Yeah, pyramid. For that, I didn't show it here, but systematic review and meta-analysis are on top. Next, randomized control trial. In the bottom, animal studies. Okay.
Thank you so much, Prof, for this informative lectures, and I leave the floor for my colleagues if they have any inquiries or question for you. This is a big chance for us, for our panelists and attendees. Please go ahead.
Dr. Adel.
Very wonderful lecture, Dr. Dawlatly. All of us learned too much from this lecture. I want to ask Dr. Dawlatly about the case study. Does the case study have certain rules in publishing different from other papers?
You mean the case report or case series?
Case
report. A case report, most of journals don't accept case reports. And if it is very unique, syndromic case report like that, then it can has chance. But otherwise, most of journals, they don't. Even anesthesia, analgesia, now they created separate supplement for case reports, different from the original one. So usually we don't go for it unless it is real unique case or syndromic case.
Thank you.
Maybe next question from myself, Prof, and I would like to welcome you and invite you for another lecture, if you don't mind, please, to talk about how strengths or how to measure the strengths of the article, because all of us are clinician working every day, and we are facing loads of articles and paper research in the same topic. So, but the problem is, which article would I follow, or I would refer to my practice on daily basis? How do you know that this article is strong enough to use in my practice or my daily practice, rather than to say that, well, this is the weakest study, that is the strongest study? So maybe
I think, yeah, this is a very good question to answer. Your question is usually to utilize the contents of the article in our clinical practice. Usually we go for meta-analytical studies, not anything else. We don't go for one randomized control, but we go for the meta-analysis studies, because this is the top rank for all the, is a robust study, you call it. So that is the meta-analysis. Data out of meta-analysis or finding out of it can be utilized, I think, to my opinion, can be utilized in clinical trials or clinical setting.
Okay, thank you. Any other question, guys?
Can I ask what if I want to prove my work with a video? Should be a support of the work, or
yeah, this is also acceptable. Some of journals, but you have to go for instruction to authors first and see whether they accept it or not, because not all journals they accept video applications. So this is just go to the instruction to author. Definitely it will strengthen your reviews and your paper, but whether journal or not, you have to select the journal which can accept this sort of videos.
I think,
okay, I think it is another milestone for our mega online course, and to have extraordinary and outstanding Professor Dawlatly tonight. And I would like to thank Prof. Assam and Prof. Adel Ibrahim and all other professors for attending this outstanding webinar tonight. And my special thanks to Prof. Dawlatly and for honoring us tonight, and Prof. Assam.
Thank you, Prof. Dawlatly. Thank you for the attendees. We hope to meet again for more and more lectures. And really, it is a great honor for us to listen to you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.